You consume it daily. You go through more than you probably realize. You are literally made of it. But how much do you really know about water? Join me, Lake Storywater, and my droid, H2O, as we travel in search of the science behind water and water-related concepts. This is Story of Water. There are so many adventures to be had on the Great Lakes that it can be hard to decide where to go and what to experience. To that end, I present a trip that focuses on the south shore of Lake Superior. The destinations described are all places I have personally visited, although they were over the course of several summers. This trip, however, can be completed within a week, but it can be shortened with bypassing some destinations or lengthened by spending more time at each stop. Make sure to take this trip sometime from May through October, as some places will only be open during this time frame. You can opt to stay at a local hotel, but my suggestion will be to bring a tent, camper, or RV and camp at a campground, as there will be many along the journey. The order I will describe is traveling from east to west, but again, you may start at any point. Perhaps you may just want to visit one of the destinations. This could be a solo trip or one with the entire family. Either way, I'll provide the information you need to plan a memorable vacation to some of the best spots Lake Superior has to offer. As a helpful bonus, if you check out the blog posting on the website story-of-water.com, there will be a suggested itinerary for each destination. Well, let's begin our road trip. Day 1 is starting in Sault Ste. Marie in the eastern Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The first destination here is the Soo Locks. The Soo Locks connect Lakes Superior and Huron. Since Superior is 21 feet higher than Huron, a lock system must be in place to raise and lower ships that can be over 1,000 feet long. Visitors can view the locks in action at the Soo Locks Visitor Center and Observation Deck. As of the writing of this, however, it's closed to the public due to COVID-19. But don't worry, there are alternatives. There is no better way to experience the locks than to actually go through them. You can hitch a ride on a boat tour. These tours are available daily from mid-May through mid-October. A narrated tour of about 2 hours takes visitors through the locks and other sites along the U.S. and Canadian shorelines, with the first tour beginning at 10 a.m. The boats can hold up to 150 passengers and have enclosed space with restrooms and a snack bar. The prices during the 2020 season were $33 per adult, $14 per child aged 5 through 16, and free for children 4 and under. Soo Locks Park is located next to the locks, and ships can be viewed from here. With ample space and plenty of trees, it makes for a good picnic spot. The park is also home to the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society Historical Weather Bureau building. Also open from mid-May to mid-October, it contains a museum, store, and exhibit with public access to the Great Lakes Images and Papers collection. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society also operates the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum in Paradise, Michigan, which is the next destination on our journey. To take the scenic route from Sault Ste. Marie to the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum, take 6 Mile Road to the aptly named Lakeshore Drive. This proceeds along Whitefish Bay until reaching M123. Follow M123 north, then continue straight onto Whitefish Point Road, which leads to the museum. Allow for about an hour and 20 to 30 minutes for this trip. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum contains several buildings and attractions to peruse. Start in the museum gallery, which houses exhibits and artifacts such as the bell of the famous Edmund Fitzgerald. Next, check out the oldest operating lighthouse on Lake Superior and tour the restored 1861 quarters. Then, visit the 1923 surf boat house to see more exhibits and a replica surf boat. Finally, finish your tour by checking out the Lake Superior shoreline from the boardwalk. And before you go, stop by the museum store. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum is open from mid-June to mid-October from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The prices during the 2020 season were $13 per adult, $9 per child age 5 through 16, and free for children 4 and under, with discounts offered for families. To finish off the day and to get to your overnight stop, it is a short trip to Tahquamenon Falls. It only takes 20 to 30 minutes from the museum. Retracing the route to get to the museum, turn west onto M123 once Whitefish Point Road ends. This leads right to the entrance of Tahquamenon Falls State Park. Tahquamenon Falls actually consists of 2 falls. The Upper Falls is one of the largest waterfalls east of the Mississippi River. It is 200 feet across and contains a 50-foot drop. One of the distinguishing features of the waterfall is its amber color, which is due to the tannins from the trees along the Tahquamenon River. It is only about a third of a mile walk from the parking lot to the viewing areas. Walk down 93 steps to the brink viewing platform first and feel the mist. Then make your way about a quarter mile downstream and take 116 steps down to the gorge viewing area right along the river. The smaller lower falls is about a 5-mile hike, so only do this if time permits, and you're not too hungry by this point. The Upper Falls are the must-see attraction. The park is open until 10 p.m. and contains a visitor center, gift shop, and the Tahquamenon Falls Brewery and Pub. As this is a state park, a vehicle passport is required. It is $12 for Michigan residents, and non-residents can pay $9 for a daily pass, or $34 for an annual pass. If going to more state parks, like this trip does, then opt for the annual pass. Set up your tent, camper, or RV, then make your way to the restaurant for dinner. Day 2's destination is about an hour and a half from Tahquamenon Falls, so make sure to pack up and get on the road early. Take M123 south until reaching M28. Take M28 west to Munising, Michigan, which is home to Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore is 42 miles of shoreline whose gem is the 15 miles of multicolored sandstone cliffs. Hiking trails allow people to hike along the entire lakeshore and view the cliffs from above. For the best views of the cliffs, the view from the water can't be beat. The 2 options here are a boat tour or kayak tour. There are several boat tour companies that visit different areas of the Pictured Rocks. The tours range from 1.5 to 3 hours, and prices typically max out at about $48 for adults. There are about 4 companies that offer guided sea kayak tours. The tours cost around $130 for a half day, which is a 4-hour commitment, or $170 for a full day, which is a 7-hour commitment. The tours include a guide, all supplies, and training. One thing to keep in mind is that children under 8 are not allowed on kayak tours. I saw the Pictured Rocks via a half-day trip on a wavy, chilly day in late May. I arrived at 9 a.m. to check in, and after receiving a quick safety lesson, I drove to the drop-in point at Miners Beach, where our kayaks were waiting. I kayaked along 2 miles of the Pictured Rocks, and despite the effort of paddling against the waves and the chilly spray of Lake Superior, the amazing views were well worth it. Make sure to bring a change of clothes, as you will get wet. Take a picnic lunch with you. You can eat it at the beach after your half-day tour, or if you take the full-day tour, you will have the chance to eat during a stop. If you do the half-day tour, spend the rest of your day either hiking the trail, taking in a boat tour, or just walking around the town of Munising. Then get some dinner at one of the local establishments and find a place to spend the night. Day 3's destination takes about 3 hours to get there. Take M28 west to US 41. Take US 41 north to M38. Take M38 west, which becomes M64, and leads directly to the entrance of Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. The Porkies, as the area is known as, are 60,000 acres that contain 90 miles of hiking trails, numerous waterfalls, lakes, and amazing vistas. With so much area to explore, These are the must-dos I recommend. First, drive to Lake of the Clouds. From the parking lot, there is a 100-yard boardwalk and trail that leads to the top of a steep lookout over this clear lake surrounded by dense forest. After allowing some time to take this in and eat a picnic lunch, drive to the parking area for Summit Peak. A half-mile hike from the lot leads to a 50-foot tall observation tour on the highest point in the Porkies at 1,958 feet. The view allows people to see as far as 20 miles away, and Lake Superior is easily seen from here. Then, spend some time hiking one of the many trails. Before it gets too late, it's time to get to your camping spot. You can choose from modern camping, rustic camping, or even backcountry camping, which includes small cabins and yurts. Bring supplies to cook your own dinner. Make sure you have your vehicle passport, as you will need it at this state park. You can spend a short amount of time the next morning checking out more that the Porkies have to offer before leaving on the 2-hour drive to the next stop. Go south on County Highway 519 to US 2. Take US 2 west and cross into Wisconsin until coming upon Highway 13. Take Highway 13 north along Tahquamenon Bay toward the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. The Apostle Islands National Lakeshore consists of 21 islands in a 720 square mile area with historic lighthouses, sandy beaches, impressive rock formations, and probably the biggest draw, intricate sea caves. Since there are so many interesting places here, I recommend planning a multiple day stay in this area. The first stop should be Tahquamenon Falls State Natural Area, right off Highway 13. A 1.5 mile hike leads past Echo Dells, which is a sandstone gorge and a 60-foot seasonal waterfall the area gets its name from. The trail ends at some small sandstone rock formations right on Lake Superior with a great all-around view. Continue north on Highway 13 to the city of Bayfield and take the ferry across to Madeline Island, the largest Apostle Island and the only one that isn't wilderness. Leave the car on the mainland and rent a bike once on the island. A round-trip ferry ticket costs $16 for anyone 12 and older, $7 for 6 to 11, and free 5 and under. On the island, there are plenty of opportunities to shop, dine, golf, bike, hike, swim, canoe, and kayak. Plan to spend the rest of your day here in order to experience all the island has to offer. You can even spend the night on the island, as there are 2 campgrounds. There is also lodging on the island and back on the mainland in the city of Bayfield. The next day, it's time to see the famous sea caves along the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. As in the pictured rocks, the best views are from the water, either on a boat tour or sea kayak. There are several boat tour companies located at different areas along the lakeshore. The tours last up to 4 hours with prices ranging from $60 to $130 per person. There are about 4 companies that offer guided sea kayak tours and sea kayak rentals. The one I went with was located in the small town of Cornucopia, which is technically the northernmost town in Wisconsin. To get there, drive north on Highway 13 from Bayfield to Cornucopia. Here, I was able to simply rent a sea kayak for $40 without having to be accompanied by a guide. Plus, the launch point was at the beach across the road from the company, giving me easy access. From the beach, I paddled across Siskiwit Bay to the Romand Point Sea Caves on a warm July day. This was a much easier paddle than the pictured rocks, as it was only a mile from the beach to the caves. It was a breathtaking experience to paddle into some caves and to feel the temperature drop. After working up a sweat from the paddle, the sandy beach made for a perfect place to take a dip and cool off, then to eat lunch at one of the picnic tables. After kayaking, I recommend taking a short drive south on County Road C to Lost Creek Falls. A 1.5 mile hike from the parking area here leads to a secluded waterfall that you can walk behind. On a hot summer day, it is refreshing to feel the mist from the small waterfall and to get your hands, feet, and head wet as well. After leaving the falls, an option is to head back east on Highway 13 and walk along the Bayfield Peninsula Sea Caves Trail if there is time to spare. If camping, though, use this time to set up at your campground. Then it will be time for dinner. While there are a few options for food in Cornucopia, I suggest heading back to Bayfield for more dinner options. Then make your way back to your campground or other lodging. And that is the end of the ultimate Lake Superior road trip. All in all, this trip covered about 500 miles in 5 days. If there is another destination you think is worthy of stopping at that I didn't cover, let me know. Send an email to lakestorywater@gmail.com or record a voice message at anchor.fm/storyofwater. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, stay hydrated. Thanks for joining us on Story of Water. If you liked what you heard, why not subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast provider? Let your friends and family know about it as well. Connect with us and listen directly at www.story-of-water.com. Check out the blog or email us feedback. If you really enjoyed the show, become a Patreon supporter. Just click the donate button on our website. Remember, stay hydrated. See you next time on Story of Water.